Okay, so first of all, the inner child is not your true self. Okay. And then, so should I erase the brain? It's a pretty ugly brain. Well, actually, we have, this is on this camera here. And the loser guy is not your true self. Okay, it's horrible writing here, but so what I see a lot, because I've been talking, I've used the word true self quite a bit in other videos, and sometimes I see comments from people who are saying, "What if my true self is a loser?" They don't use that word. Well, sometimes they do, but often they'll say nervous, socially awkward, nice guy, shy, and all this. And that's not your true self. That's not your true self. That's just another part. And that's one of the parts that you've been for quite a while. Maybe shy guy is here. And that was an adaptation to fit in, because when you tried to be extroverted guy, you got picked on or bullied at school. So you learn if you're just shy, no one will pick on you and you'll be safe. Maybe that's one way that the shy guy arose. So you stay with safe guy. Actually, it's a coping strategy, right? I'll go with safe and not rock the boat, and then that'll keep me out of trouble. And then that human being thinks that early part is its true self, but that's not true either. I'll be getting into, as I said, I will soon be getting into what the true self really is, but all of this is to clear up the misconceptions of what it is not. Okay, so another thing that the true self is not is that it is not the original self. So this is a part. But this is something I want to clear up because I've done quite a lot of work and videos on narcissism. And in narcissism, you see a contrast between the false self and the original self. And a lot of the literature uses the word true. And this kind of confuses things, right? So after all of this research over many years, I've decided I'm just going to keep my vocabulary consistent, even if it's inconsistent with a book that I'm reviewing or talking about, just to avoid confusion. So this is like David Tian's usage of the word. So I'm going to reserve the word true self in the sense that I will be describing in the second half of this, which I take from IFS Therapy, which I think is the best on what the true self is. And in Narcissistic Personality Disorder theory, there's the false self, that's the narcissistic self. So the narcissist, in reaction to shame, generates a false self so that it doesn't have to deal with how crappy it thinks its original self is, or its true, the true self is. And the false self arises, and then all the narcissistic literature is like, either you can't treat these people and just lock them up, or if you can treat them, the treatment is largely getting their false self getting them to stop acting as their false self. So getting rid of the false self. Okay, so in that way, narcissistic personality disorder could benefit a lot. I mean, one of the reasons why I think that NPD is so recalcitrant to treatment is because they have not allowed enough IFS therapists and Gestalt therapists to deal with NPD. NPD is a very scary thing, there's a lot of security kind of issues. Like these guys could get violent, these people, and so they. So the whole cluster B disordered group, we're looking at psychopaths in there as well. So I think there are the therapy there is a lot harsher. And part of it is like stop, so we understand why, hopefully, that just for practical reasons, they're like, stop being the Joker, kind of thing. Or, you're talking to Hannibal Lecter, these are extreme examples, but, you don't want to be like, oh, how was your part? Talk to your part, and being all nice and stuff, because he will just mind fuck you. So you got to be harsh and be like, drop it, right? Like drop being that false self, or I'm not going to talk to you. And that's really tough. Basically, it's really difficult for that to happen. Partly because I think now IFS can explain it, because you can't make any existing parts just go away. The more you repress an existing part, the more you're repressing. Right? And the more it's going to want to come out later in a very uncontrolled way. Instead, what you need to do is, well, IFS will, and I'll get into that, we'll show you, is that you need to appreciate that part and try to figure out what that part was trying to do. And the assumption is that all parts were trying to do something good for the self. They weren't never trying to kill the self. And it might, even in terms of Machiavellian evolutionary theory, no, you wouldn't want to be killing yourself. So all of these parts are intended to help you, even if they're misguided or are based on misperceptions.